What's up, everybody? Kevin W. Perry here. Hey, I've got a question for you. Do you want to be able to sort non-stackable items? And you want to be able to do it efficiently and effectively? I'm about to show you how to do that. All right, so here is my testing grounds. This is where I took the concepts that were presented, that existed at the time, and I finally came up with the final solution, which is very efficient. Big shout out to Silent Whisperer, who this design is based almost entirely either off of, like, for example, the redstone clock that I use is his redstone clock. I got it strictly off of his video. And the concept for moving the items is a modification of the concept that he made in his original Allay item sorter. I just modified the concept, but I did not come up with the concept at all. So huge shout out primarily and biggest to Silent Whisperer, because this is essentially his design that I took and developed in order to move the items, and then I came up with how to get the Allays individually sorted so you could have them side by side. So I came up with that concept, and then I applied his techniques to that concept in order to make this work. Links to his content will be below. Also, there will be links to Il Mango and Mumbo Jumbo, who came up with the Java concepts, the Java item sorters that work, to their videos. And because I did watch a lot of Moxie Watts' video, kind of just as inspiration, I ended up not implementing anything in the final build from hers. But it honestly, just the frustration that she went through watching her video and seeing that kind of helped me to keep going when I was frustrated. So I will have links to all those item sorter videos in the description below. This is the testing grounds. This is the proving grounds. There are some things here. We have, when I realized I needed a clock, these are some of the things I had. Little MTO3 was on here making clocks when I was talking about clocks. That was originally Silent Whisperer's clock that he developed for his item sorter, but then I eventually swapped it out for another one of his because his is too fast. And if you look in the comments for Silent Whisperer's video, he will tell you, he did put in there that his does not work because of the changes that they made coming out of the beta and introducing this later on. But we did modify it. So let's get into that first of all. This is a modification. This is not an exact duplicate. This is a modification of Silent Whisperer's item sorter. I had to bring the jukeboxes out one, and this is the bay where it actually worked. So you can see right under there, I put a half slab on top of the hopper, and then I just left the bay. I put a half slab and then another half slab to keep the Allay in here and to keep it tossing at that. As it turns out, though, the Allay does not actually need to fly upwards, which we will see in the other one. And then this is Silent Whisperer's distribution system. He's got a, not a hopper, a dropper here going up into another dropper. That dropper shoots the item over this hopper, which is locked. And then the clock unlocks the item, which drops it, moves it into the next dropper. Well, it collects it, it moves it into the next dropper, and then it just keeps going down and down the line. And this is, this can be done for as long as necessary. You can just keep adding modules. The total slice for the module is all you would have to do is add a block or add one set and then another set right there. And you can see that his, not with the clock, is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His original was a 4 slicer. This is 5 because it had to get moved out. That was the development that I originally made, and then I was like, I bet I can figure out how to put these guys together somehow. There's got to be a way. I tested putting them in minecarts. I tested putting the blocks over the head of them and secluding them, putting in boats. If you are doing this on Bedrock, you need to know that Allays will not throw items to a note block if they are in a minecart or a boat. It doesn't matter where the note block is. It doesn't matter whether or not it's been pinged. Obviously, it has to be pinged for them to throw it anyways, but that doesn't change anything. They won't throw the items to the note block. They will still throw it to a player, though. So I don't know if that matters later on. This was a system that I had for trying to double stack Allays. You can't do that, by the way. Allays, the timing for an Allay to pick up an item, drop it off, and be able to pick up an item again, it goes off whether or not they actually end up picking the item up. As soon as they attempt to pick up an item, the countdown begins. And it keeps going until either they don't have the item and then the countdown just goes all the way through till completion, or until they pick up the item and drop it off. So you can't double stack to make this faster, and that's going to come into play later. So modified his, and then this is where the ideas from Moxie Watts came into play. You can see here that I ran water. But this is the most important part of this, honestly, is what you see right here. As you can see, by putting a half slab over the hoppers, I'm able to individually put the Allays next to each other. Boom, 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 boom. And we're good to go with that. We can have these guys next to each other, and they will pick up items. The problem with this is that their speed time doesn't allow for them to collect every single item as it comes through the water. There are too many variables when it comes to running the water, and you do have some bleed off. But you can see this guy right here, he already missed a block. The wood blocks were supposed to go through. The blue concrete was not supposed to go through on this one. So you can see that he already missed a block, even though he did pick some up. Some of these guys didn't even see their blocks come through. But this guy was missing blocks. In the couple of tests that I did, these guys all picked up their items. 1 or 2, I forget, of these guys missed theirs, and 4 out of 5 of these guys missed theirs. And as you can see, I didn't even bother trying to see what would happen. I don't know why that is, but I attribute it to water just having too many variables that can't be compensated for. But this did show me that in the process of building this, as you can see, I managed to get them into these 5 slots, but that still wasn't good enough. I wanted to fill in these gaps right here. So then I came up with this right here. This is me after figuring out how to have these guys stacked. I still had, as you can see, a chunk in between here, but I was trying to make it faster by putting an Allay on either side. This is where I discovered that for sure, if an Allay attempts to pick up an item, this guy had a dropper like he does. If an Allay attempts to pick up an item, it still, even though it doesn't, it still has the same cooldown. So you can see droppers made it through. And this is also where I confirmed the timing of the clock. All 4 of these have to be open. You can't even have one of them not fully open on the timing. Fast forward to this. Fast forward to this design, and as you can see, I have a box every single block. I have a box on every single block. This design works. All of the wood blocks on this came through. There are no concrete blocks, and if we go to each of these, you'll see that it sorted the full stack that I put in there. And it sorts your non-stackable items. This is where I figured out that this system will work. You'll see that the note blocks are closer together. I had to isolate I had to send a note block only to 3. This system, you cannot have the note block go to 5 at a time. You cannot do it. There's 2 there. You can't put wool in enough places to have the note block go out, but who cares, because as you can see, it works. You just got to make a couple extra note blocks, which is wood, and I don't even remember what it takes to make a note block, because until this release, I didn't care. I never did it. And then this is my stress tester. This is my stress tester. As you can see, this thing is so extensive that not all of the boxes show up at the end of it. I actually, and you can tell by the repeaters that are there, I was actually going to make it even longer, but I felt like this was long enough to stress test it. It was. This also allowed me to back up some without having to go too far, cut off. You know, you can see how much is unloading there on the boxes. Those Allays are unloading. And if you look through this corner right there, the bottom right-hand corner of the glass, you can see that I was able to determine that the items were not going all the way to the end until they loaded, and I didn't know how that was going to affect things. For this test, the only thing that I put in there that was not going to get sorted was rotten flesh. And the only thing that went through was rotten flesh. So you guys, here's what I'm telling you. Oh, I put these here because this thing is so extensive. I wasn't sure which chests were actually getting items into them, and I wanted to know when everything had an item in it. But as you can see, everything that's stackable has a max stack in it. You saw that we can put 16, which obviously if it's stackable at all, you can use it in an item sorter. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to do anything tricky to it. You know, oh, it's a 16 stack, it's a single stack, it's a non-stackable. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do anything special to it. I thought I had way more non-stackable items. There we go. I made sure I only put 10 of these boards in this time because it's easier to count, but it will sort everything. It will sort everything. But anyways, you guys, this is what we're going to learn how to build today. This is a fully functional, lossless, every kind of item sorter. It will sort it, and it will grab it, and it will not send anything into your overflow. So all of your stuff will be here. You only need one item that you need to give to the Allay, and then it will sort everything else out for you. I will say this. As you can see, this is the fastest the clock can be. This is the fastest the clock can be. It does take time to sort. All right, so these are the items that you're going to need for this build. You will need chests. You will need some sort of building block. I prefer polished diorite as my building block. But whatever it is, it needs to conduct redstone energy. So you will need some sort of solid block. You will need hoppers. I'm going to use glass. You don't need glass, but I'm going to be using glass in my build. But your solid block can take the place of most glass. And I'll talk about that as I build it. You will need droppers, redstone repeaters, redstone torches, redstone dust, stone stairs, note blocks, blue wool, or any kind of wool. It doesn't need to be blue. Some sort of wool. You will need slabs. You will need some Allays, and you will need one lever for sure. The thing about the Allays is they can be flying around. I'm not going to go into how to get them into the build during the build, but at the end of this video, I will demonstrate the process that I would use in survival to make this happen. So as you can see, this is a 4 wide slice. All right, it takes up 4 lanes, but first let's go ahead and put 12 boxes down. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. All right. And then on top of each of these, you're going to want to have a hopper. We'll just do it this way. So, boom. And then you're going to have another hopper on top of that hopper. Oh. This row right here is where the allays are going to sit in these hoppers. The next thing that you want to do is you want to get your building block and not on the first slice, all right? Not on the first slice, on the second slice, you put 2, you skip 2, you put 2 more. Skip 2, put 2 more. Skip 2, put 2 more. And then on top of each of those, put a redstone torch. And then in front of each of those, put a repeater. And then you can also put a repeater here if you want, but I just put redstone there. But if if you're on a place where they mess up and put a lot of water or whatever, then you can put repeaters there to avoid having your redstone get messed up. But I'm just going to be using redstone because there's a lot of parts on this where we're just going to be using redstone anyways. But you can do this design, and then on top of these droppers, the outside row of droppers, all right, or the outside column of droppers, or outside column of redstone torches, you want to put a dropper right on top of the torch like that. All right, and you know you got it there when you hear that click. So you want to do that on top of all of the outside ones. Like that. And then you want to come right here. You want to shift, crouch click, crouch place, and put a dropper so the smiley face is pointing towards your allays, where your allays will be pointing towards you. So those are your droppers, just like that. And like I said, you want to make sure it's right there. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do is come down to your end, go ahead and place a temporary block right there, and your collection system, okay? This is your overflow in case there's items that you haven't put into the sorting system yet. This is where they'll all collect at if you haven't designated an allay to pick up those items. And then what you want to do is you want to put a hopper going into there, a hopper going into that hopper. Do not put another hopper here going into that hopper. Instead, you put a hopper into dropper, and then you put a hopper into that hopper. We're going to be saying hopper a lot. So, and then you come around behind this system, hopper into hopper, hopper to dropper, hopper to hopper. Come back, repeat the process. Hopper, hopper, hopper to dropper, hopper to hopper. Come back, repeat the process. Hopper, hopper here. Now, here's the thing. You don't need, if this is the beginning part, you don't need another hopper system right here. But you can, if you want, you can do that and have your, distribution system, your chest that your everything goes into, push into this hopper if you want. I'm not going to do that. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to, excuse me, you're going to want to put some form of block on these, not directly in front of the hopper or the dropper. I choose glass here because when we get finished building this part, we're going to be able to look through right on this corner and be able to see if anything is going wrong, like if some items aren't being dropped into hoppers, which will mean that your lock is not unlocking. So I'm choosing glass. It does not have to be glass, but I strongly recommend that you put glass. But you do need some items here to prevent the items that, as they pop up, sometimes they'll spill into the hoppers next to them, which means your allays won't pick them up in time. So, oops, put one there. Nope. And then one right there. All right. And then you're going to want a temporary block where the allays would go, not directly in front of your dropper, but a block after that in front of your droppers. And that is because you need to put an upside down stair just like that. So remember me talk about the window? This is your window right here. You need the dropper to shoot the item against the bottom of the upside down stair. So you know you place it right if you've got a window here next to, on the bottom next to your dropper. So then put item there, whoops, and stair, upside down stair there. Double check, boom. You can see all the way through to daylight, and then you remove these blocks. If you're doing it in survival, check those for your blocks. All right, and that is your system right there. As you can see, we got all this like this. Now, what you can do is you can also come down and you can put a glass block right there because you're going to have an allay in that spot. I recommend doing that just to make sure nothing happens to your allay. You're going to want to close those guys in to make sure that nothing happens to them. And then if this was survival, you would set up your system for putting your allays into place at this time. But I'm going to go ahead and place my half slabs now because we're doing this in creative for speed purposes. As I've said, at the end of this video, I'm going to include a system on how to put an allay into these spots right here. But for now, we're not going to do that. Just ignore these blocks I'm placing are not necessary for the build. They're just necessary for me to crouch when I place the allays. So they're creative temporary blocks. They're not even survival temporary blocks. But you may have a block here if you're doing this in survival because you are going to have something there. Bless you. All right, so there we go. We've got all of our allays in place like this. And that's where they're going to go, just like that. So then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to feed these guys. When you put them in here, you're going to want them to already have their item before you close them in. All right, so before we close these guys in, we're going to want to give them their items. So you can see we're giving 5 of them non-stackable items, and we're giving 5 of them stackable items. Oh, we had 12, didn't we? I thought I had 10, so we'll just give him and him. So they've each got their items. All right, so that is in place. All right, so they've each got their items. All of them are in place. They have their items. You can see that guy's got a sword because I thought I only needed 10 when I first grabbed him. And I forgot that I made this with 12. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put note blocks. All right, you're going to put note blocks directly across from each of your dropper systems. All right, note blocks, the way that you know if they're in the right place, they're directly across from your dropper systems. Everywhere else that you don't have a note block, you're going to want to put wool in there. And then just for safety's sake, I put wool here and I put wool here. Put some sort of block to protect it and also to keep the noise from passing through from anywhere else. You're also going to want to make sure this is not anywhere near any jukeboxes or any other note blocks that are going to be making noise for whatever other reason, so that you don't unalign your guys from their appropriate note blocks. Now, one thing that I do like about this system is that because you have versatility on where these boxes go, if you don't like this tone, right, and you don't want to like make music and be like, oops, like that, then you can put whatever you want right underneath here. And this is another place that glass, in my opinion, really comes into play because that's all you hear when you put glass. So I recommend having glass under here. You could also put like deep slate or something that makes a low tone. It's going to be less annoying than your musical tones, but you can do whatever you want for your music and for your note blocks. But if you put glass, then the only thing you're going to hear is this. All right, so, and we'll reset that so it's the same. I don't remember if I changed that or not, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just lay some redstone right along here. All right, it doesn't have to go all the way out. It needs to just come here. You're going to put one redstone spot right there. This is how you're going to set these tones according to the clock. And then the other thing that you are going to need to do is you are going to need some repeaters in place. Because of the way that the redstone is going to climb, I've put a repeater right there. I do every other note block. As you can see, that's what I did right here. I did every other note block, but you can set it up however you need as long as you don't put it right here at the intersection of the redstone. It can't go there because otherwise this won't play a tone and your Allays won't sort for you. Next thing you're going to want is to build your clock. It's really simple. I got this clock from Silent Whisperer, and the link from where I got it from will also be in the description of the video. And this is where the lever comes into place. So boom, and then that. All right, so as you can see, this is functioning, but it is going way too fast. You need to make sure that all of these are set to 4 all the way open. Open them all the way up. This is a slow machine, just so you know, and I'm going to talk more about that at the end, but it is a slow machine. You cannot do this. You can't even have one of these one redstone tick faster. It has to be all of these open for this to work. This is the fastest speed currently available at the time of making this video. All right, so I was wrong about not needing glass. You do need glass for your clock right here. All right, so you want to put your glass just like this. All right, and the way that I did that is I just, I'm in creative, so I stacked but you're going to maybe put temporary blocks, but you want to have your glass like this. So right off of this, you're going to put one glass up and over to the left, one glass back and up, one piece of glass, and then you want to put your redstone here, there, and there. You can see it connects, and there you go. Now all of your note blocks are being tapped, and we have our clock in place. So this thing is ready to go. It is ready to sort your items. This is all that you need, and even these right here, you don't actually need those, but this is ready to go. It is ready to sort your items. So now what we want to do is we want to put our system in place to get those items. All right, so as you can see, we've got our items already in the distribution system. They're in the hopper. They're coming down into this chest. I put them in here semi-randomly just because I'm not very good at clicking on the things, but it'll kind of replicate the way things would work for you. We're going to turn on our system. Once you have this on in your world, you're going to want to keep it running all the time because of the sheer speed. You don't want to turn it off for any reason unless you're doing maintenance on the system. For whatever, a creeper blew up there, somebody came in and fucked with it. But other than that, you're going to want to make sure that it is running before you drop items in there, and then you're going to want to leave it running after that. So it's already running. Let's go ahead and put this dropper in here. As you can see, items are dropping in. And you can see it's already starting to distribute some of our items. Nothing except for rotten flesh should end up over here. And you can always look right in there. You can see it's working. It's shooting the items. And you can see that they hang out long enough for these guys to pick them up. Now, one thing I will try and get right here, you can kind of see the bottom of the redstone torches right there. And you can see the items float. And watch as the items disappear. You see how that one picked it up right before the redstone torch got it? That's the thing about this system. It can't go any faster. It cannot go any faster than this, or the Allays just do not have time to pick up the item, and they'll miss some of your items. So this is your system right here. The stackable items are making it take a while. The nature of a dropper, droppers randomly take items and shoot it out from here. So you saw how that took the zombie flesh that time, and it just took this item. All right, so it's not taking every single. It's not starting with one corner and working its way. You see, it just grabbed the sword, and it just grabbed another sword. So unfortunately, you can't count on it to send things from the same block. It randomly shoots it, which means for a test system such as this, you know, you got to wait. But as you can see, it is sorting our non-stackable items. All right, I think I had 5 of each non-stackable item, and you can see that it's also sorting our stackable items. And then we're back to a non-stackable item right there. Only zombie flesh in the overflow because we didn't give any of them zombie flesh. So that's it, you guys. That is the item sorter. That is an Allay-based item sorter. All right, we have every single block you can put in Allay, and they will sort. It will not go into any other place. None of these items are going to show up in the wrong bay. None of the items that are being sorted are going to show up in your overflow. Only your items that you have not yet set up for being sorted out. The best use for this, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and if you watch Silent Whisperer's video, he even says it on his, and his is faster than this. The best use for this is just as a non-stackable items filter because of how long it takes. If you've got an item sorter that works for you, that sorts everything, and it's not causing you problems, you don't need to use this for stackable items, even though I only did it just to show what works. You still, even if you don't do stackable items, you still cannot speed it up for the non-stackable items just because of the time it takes for it to reset. That block will continue onward, and they won't pick it up. All right, while this is going on, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get your Allay into your system. What you do is, this is the hopper that your guy's going to go on. Just ignore that block right there. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is the hopper that your guy's going to go onto. So let's pretend it's in a system. You've got your first guy. You're going to want to put a temporary block right there. You can put your wool block that's going to go in that place. And then you can put, like, maybe you can put your half slab right there. That's going to indicate the next spot. But let's say this is your first guy that you're putting in. You're going to want to have your row of solid blocks leading up to it. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to have a couple of rails not on. You don't need it there. You're going to want to have a couple of rails right here, though. Doesn't need a lot. It literally, you could probably just do this. Let's try that, actually. All right. You've got your one rail. You've got a hopper. You're going to want to go above your minecart. I recommend going back one. And you're going to want to go up probably 2 blocks. Our guy here, he's holding some zombie flesh, so you just start throwing your zombie flesh at the minecart. He's going to keep bringing it back and throwing it to you. You just keep tossing it back in the minecart. All right, and just keep doing this. And there you go. You see, now he's in the minecart right there. He can't fly off. He's like, what the heck do I do? He'll give you your items back, and you just push him right into place right there like that. Get rid of this. Put a block here just to keep it in place. Actually, you should... Yeah, just put a block right there for now. And then you've got your piston and a lever in place right there. You come in, get rid of the minecart. There you go. And now he's trapped. He can't get out. All right, it looks like we got nothing popping up in these windows, so it looks like it is done distributing the items. Moment of truth here. There shouldn't be anything in this box but rotten flesh. There is not. And all of these should have 64 items or 5 non-stackable items. And there you go, you guys. And so there it is. That is your item sorter, your Allay item sorter. As you can see, we've got an Allay on every single block. There's no gaps between Allays. It can keep on going, just like this one back here that you see that I tested this. This thing will keep on going. Even if you leave, even if you sign out and you come back, it will just keep going as soon as those items enter the chunk. But it does take a really long time to sort your items. Obviously, a non-stackable item, it takes up just one slot, and so it gets out and it gets sorted, and it's going to be... Considering there's no other way to sort non-stackable items, this is the way to sort your non-stackable items. But unfortunately, as far as it being a stackable items filter, it's really slow. It is really slow. This is currently the fastest that we can make this item sorter go. But that's it, you guys. This is our item storage system, and that's how it works. And like I said, you want it to be non-stackable items, primarily used for non-stackable items. You can use it for stackable items, but it is ridiculously slow at this point. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming in and for being here, for watching this. Provide your feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you plan on using this in your world. Put it in the feedback below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, you know, hopefully this works in your world. I really hope it's helpful. Thanks a lot, and have a good one.